All right. So in today's video, I'm going to talk all about how to speak to the premium buyers, whether it's in your audience, in somebody else's audience, if you're a guest on a podcast or wherever you may be, so that you're calling the people forward who are all about investing, who value high ticket, and the premium buyers that are going to be that much easier to say yes to your offer. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jana Nixa. I am the Authentic Sales Coach, and I help coaches, consultants, and service-based entrepreneurs create high-ticket offers that sell and then teach you a simple sales process to sell them and get high-ticket clients consistently. So today we're going to talk about something that's kind of timely. I actually just had a client. I was just in Voxer with her talking about this. And, she's like, I don't know where the high-ticket buyers are. Like, where do I find them? And, there's just a lot of fear around but if they can't afford like my $2,500 thing or my $3,000 thing, like, why would they be able to afford my $10,000 thing? And so it starts with your own internal shift first, because first and foremost, a belief is a decision. And so we have to rewire our brain to realize that high ticket buyers are everywhere. Okay. There are people right now who will only buy BMWs. There are people right now who only will live in $500,000, million, $10 million houses. Okay. So if you're constantly feeling like everybody in your audience is broke, it is because you're expecting everybody in your audience to be broke. Because if your brain is a goal achieving machine, which it is, David Bayer taught me that. That means not only are you going to continuously speak in a way that's going to attract those people, you're also going to notice them more showing up in your reality, because it's working against you both ways, both consciously and subconsciously. It's going to come out in your content, and it's also going to come out with the people that come onto your sales calls, because it wants to be right. There's safety in being predictable. There's safety in being right. So borrow my belief that there are high ticket buyers, and think about it. If you go high ticket and you have a 5K or a 10K offer, you only need 10 or 20 people per year to have a six-figure business per year. You mean to tell me that you can't find 10 or 20 people per year that want to work with you at 5K or 10K? So can you see how when you start to question that belief, you can see that it's not true? It's something you decided is true, perhaps based on your experience, but also perhaps based on your expectations. Okay. So my first question is, if you're feeling like you're getting on calls with a lot of people that can't afford your services, it's like, how are you feeling? Are you feeling abundant? Right? Are you beating the drum of lack? Because you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are, what you expect, and what you think you deserve. So we have to start here. Why? And for any of you mindset junkies that's anything like me a few years ago, you're like, I already know this, burr, burr, burr. That's fine if you already know it. How well are you applying it to your business? I'm not interested in whether or not you know it, because if you're embodying it and truly integrating it, you wouldn't be having this experience. Ask me how I know, because I went from knowing it with with my mind versus actually believing it with my body. And so taking that and filling in that gap is always going to be the first step. There's tactics and strategies and things we can do, but if you don't get that internal state right, it's like rearranging deck furniture on the Titanic. You're going to continuously prove yourself right. So get out from under the belief and decide, because all beliefs are a decision, even the ones you don't think are. So, and decide differently. And every time it comes up in your reality and you start to beat the old drum, you remind yourself, you stay conscious, and you remind yourself that you're thinking bigger than your current reality, that you're thinking bigger and choosing what you want to believe instead, instead of, what's just always been your default. So you're 100% in charge of that. And when we take 100% responsibility, then guess what? Things start to shift. However, the sticking point that I always want to talk about is how well can you manage yourself through the transition from the old reality to the new reality. Because for those who are certain can afford to wait, and wait without doubt, and wait without anxiety, because they know what is coming. Okay? So that would be the first thing. I spent a lot of time early on, like, my audience, I don't have the right people. It's not the da 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 da. And the bottom line is high ticket buyers are made, they're not found. When you can call somebody to a higher timeline by speaking truth to them, people can be very resourceful. And I have a multi-six-figure business, and I don't think I've ever gotten on a sales call with somebody that's like, yes, I can't wait to give you, 10K, 20K, 50K. Yes, I just happen to have it laying around your collecting desk. Like, that's not how we're wired. So you have to help them also rewire, but it has to start with you first. The mirror doesn't smile first. You do. So if you're attracting that, you have to look on the inside first. What is the story? What are your expectations? And where are you in lack? And that's being reflected back to you. And that's why I know a lot of coaches use this, like, in order to, be more in the high ticket space and sell high ticket, you want to be a high ticket buyer. And that is because you are putting that in your evidence file in your brain that people do this, including you. And if you do it, that means other people do it too. But borrow my belief, because everything that I just told you is the foundation for everything else. Because then we think about, okay, how do we speak to those people, right? Well, the first thing we do is stop speaking to people who are in pain, right? Who are on the struggle bus, who we don't use the word struggle in our content, right? We speak to the people who are doing it, who are driven, who are those people that are like, Marie Forleo, everything is figure outable, right? Those are the people we're speaking to. Those are the ones that buy with certainty. Those are the ones that know where they're going, and they know it's only a matter of time. And they don't let fear, doubt, and a thing like money get in the way between them and their dreams. Period. I'm one of those people. Perhaps you're one of those people, but we have to be a little bit delusional at first when starting a business to get through the BS that it takes to start getting the clients consistently, because it works on you before it works for you. And the bottom line is, if you're building a bridge from across, like, to Client Island, it takes time to get some of those pieces together. I don't care what any coach lies to you and tells you. It's not true. Everybody's so-called overnight success story had a really long decade beforehand. No, not usually that long, but it takes longer than, one time, two times. Like, you're developing skill sets, and no one gets to skip this part. So if the quicker you can get into the mindset of this is part of it, the better. Okay. So speaking, when I'm speaking to my audience, I'm not just speaking to those that are like at that level already and are just like know how to make things happen. Infusing them rather with this mentality. It's not like, will this work? It's like, what do I need to do to make this work? These are different people. Will this work? I remember being that person. I remember purchasing in fear. I remember thinking, is this going to be the thing that saves my business? That's not it. That's when what we do in fear brings more fear. What we do from a place of like, I'll get it figured out. I know I've got this. And we're building that muscle. Those are the people you want to speak to, because they're not sitting around thinking about what they don't have. They're thinking about how are they going to make the thing happen. They're not thinking about things like, what is it going to cost me? They're thinking about, what is the ROI? And so that's the biggest thing when when you're talking to high ticket buyers is they have a different consciousness level around money. They get it. They understand what investing is and they're empowered around it. They're not in fear of like, I'm going to lose everything, right? It's all strategies work. Everything works so long as you continue to get the skill set and keep the mindset to continue to execute it until it works. So, um, so those are some of the things that I would really think about when you're talking to your people in your content. If they're stepping into doubt, it's like your certainty that of course your program's going to work for them and you're going to make sure of it, right? And that's what they need to see. It's not about how long it is or how many modules or it's not about the process. It's about the certainty of the payoff and the fact that you can help them see by activating their desire that this is absolutely possible. Not just possible, it's probable because you've done it before and you know how to get them where they want to go. Because a lot of people hear, I can't afford it, because not so much because the person can't actually afford it, but because they haven't done a good enough job of explaining the ROI, of painting the picture of what it's going to look like. And, after going through a program like yours. And so that is a lot of the time. I would say 90% of the time, that's the actual issue. And so, check out some of my other videos. I have one on sales and the money objection to really walk through more of like the handling of that. But for this video, I wanted to focus more on the front end and calling them in. But the bottom line is, how do we paint the vision and that it's absolutely achievable for them? And we do it by telling the truth. Like I'm telling you, in order to have a business that's going to be successful, 99.99999% of people are going to have to invest in it. And it's not going to be comfortable. You're going to have to learn skills. And it's not an overnight success thing, right? I mean, if it were that easy, everybody would do it. But the question really becomes, is this going to get you closer to your goal or further away? That's really how we want to invest. And then the next question is, how quickly will the ROI be there? And so, looking at your stories and talking to people that already get this in one way or another. And it's the same with health. It's the same with wealth in relationships. Like we have to get them to see not just the value of investing, but what's the value of not investing? What's the loss? Right? How much does a divorce cost? How much is it worth to you not to be able to have a relationship with your children again? Your health, right? Doing the actual things that are going to work. We're fine. All of us are totally fine spending a bunch of money on medical things in the traditional space that aren't working and getting the results, right? We've been conditioned there. So, what about investing in your health in a different way to actually reverse and get results? And so, it's about showing them the possibility that's available to them. So, that is where messaging is so powerful because we're not just speaking to the right person, we're also speaking to what's possible for them and how we can hold that vision for them. But if you're going to the call, they're broke, here comes another person that's not going to say yes, or my audience doesn't, isn't high ticket, my audience, whatever it is, like, of course, your brain is going to reflect that back to you. The reality is going to reflect that back to you because we love to be right, even when the belief doesn't serve us. So, some other things around messaging and in high ticket. The biggest shift is knowing two things, I think. One is how few people you need at the end of the day. Like just sitting in the vision of, do you actually have 10 to 20 people over the course of a year in your audience right now that would buy a high ticket program. I bet you everybody here can say yes to that, because I know everybody's like, but I don't have leads. I don't have leads. Social media is leads. Everybody on social media has health issues. Everybody on social media has, um, wealth issues, relationship. Like, it's all there. And so it's a matter of your message calling forth the right person. And the very best way, this was the shift I wanted to say before, to really capture who that is to speak their language, is that you understand where they are. You really get why they are where they are. You help them see the insight as to why they are where they are and what needs to change, right? Like, we have to have those come to Jesus moments with them in our messaging, because if nothing changes, nothing changes. And so it's like, one of my clients was even saying, like, this question of like, when will you have the money? Like, what makes you think it's going to be any different unless you make a different decision? And so it's all about you standing in your power and trusting that those people are there, because they are. And if one of my clients is like, but if they're not buying the 3K thing, how would they buy the 10K thing? I have people at all levels. I had people that couldn't afford my 1997 thing, and I have people that can't afford my 25K thing or my 50K thing. I have people that can afford both, right? And so it's different price points for different people with different needs. Premium buyers shop differently. And so you want to be able to understand what those hot buttons are for those premium buyers that are your ideal client. What makes them tick? What is it they need to see to go, this is what I need? Because they are more savvy. They're not looking for this whole one size fits all. They're looking for specific things that maybe they didn't have before, that they know is the key to getting the result they want. So, how does your program fit that? How does your program do it differently? How is your positioning and who you are and how you get them the results? How is that going to stick out for them? And so that is really what separates the ones stuck in the pain and the struggle and the low ticket buyers versus the high ones. The more intricate and nuanced we can get with what that problem is and really fully understand it, it's so many layers deeper than you want clients. Like, it's so much deeper than that, right? And understand that we are just this piece of that to get them closer to where they want to go. That is what a high ticket buyer purchases on, not a one size fits all, check all the boxes thing, because high ticket buyers have been around the block. They know, they've spent the money with the gurus. They know what they get, and they are all about the high transformation result. And then last thing I'll say about it is, some people in your audience right now are only high ticket buyers. Like, I won't buy a 2K program. I just don't. That's not the type of support I want at this level in my business. And that's how I was even before I was a multi six figure business owner. Like, I at some point made the decision that I wanted to invest in the level of support I needed to get to the next step at whatever that cost was, instead of where's the program that's going to give me everything. Because I invested in so many of those and I didn't get the attention and the support that I needed to get the result. So now I'm looking for very specific, nuanced things. And last little clue I'll give you, high ticket buyers also understand that it's an inside job too. They know that there's an identity shift that needs to occur. They know that they've been around the block enough to know that it's not a one size fits all. They know that in order to get the result, that they have to get to the root of the problem, right? In order to make the money that they have to release the blocks that are standing in the way. Whatever got them to where they are isn't going to get them where they want to go. And they know that. So speak to that. They know. High ticket buyers know that there's no magic pill, no secret door number 3 that's going to make all their dreams come true. They know enough to know that. And so we don't speak to them in that way. We speak to the level of buyer's intelligence that they have. And so, okay, I think I've gone deep enough into that for now. Listen, if you want to go deeper into this, check out the caption in the description below, because we have links to our upcoming challenge where we're going to be going deep diving, not only just into how to bring these high ticket buyers in and actually help you specifically with your messaging. We're also going to take a look at your offer and your sales process, because guys, this all goes together. Okay. You can bring in the high ticket buyers, but if you don't have the offer dialed in and they don't understand what they're getting, they're not going to buy. You can bring them in and even have a offer dialed in, but if you don't know how to walk them through the sales process and close them on a call, then they're not going to say yes. And so there are certain pieces that need to be in place, but once they're locked in, you'll see how this all fits together. So in our challenge, we're going to be talking all about that. So definitely check out the link. And if you want to really get the most out of it, go VIP. We're going to, this is going to be the VIP of VIPs. So definitely check out VIP, because we are going to be serving you guys so much inside of there. So I hope I will see you inside Elevate to Enroll, Sell Your High Ticket Offer Challenge, and we'll see you next week.